All right, now we're going to dialogue about this rebel flag.
All right, back to this flag. This flag that's being misinterpreted. The Confederate flag, the word Confederate, means allied. So who was these rebels allied with? These rebels was allied with the people of the land. The people of the land was who? The natives. The natives was who? The Asiatics. Why did it say the black? Because these Asiatics was of descent. They was a descent of the Moorish Americans. Who are the Moorish Americans? The Moorish Americans are the people who George Washington chopped down the parable, the cherry tree. You know, the cherry tree was significant to the flag, the Moorish flag, which is red with a 5-pointed green star on it. Now, these are the flag of the people of the land, the first settlers of the land. You have natives, which is the Native Americans. Then you have the African Americans, the terminology that was put upon them. But they really was the Moorish Americans. Why the Moorish Americans? Because they was descendants from Morocco. Morocco had the bill of slavery, which was free to trade slaves, which means that most of the slaves came from Morocco or through Spain, because the Spanish expedition was the first expedition. Now, during the Spanish expedition, it was a revolt, and they casted the Spaniards back onto the ships after overthrowing them and killing so many of them. They went back to their native land, which left the settlers, the Asiatics, as settlers. Now, the Asiatics made it with the natives, forming tribes. Like, some may know about the Seminoles. The Seminoles is a tribe that was formed through the natives and the Asiatics. Now, back to this flag. Now, the Union was united. They was united for one purpose and cause. So when the Southerners had to understand that this wasn't the cause that they was representing, they was under, they took heed. So when they took heed, most people think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. But his whole purpose wasn't to free the slaves. It was to overthrow the South. If I freed the slaves, then that stop all your service and workers, you know what I mean, right, from working for you, from making your land and your businesses profitable.
Industrial.
Try to cause them an inconvenience.
Exactly. It was an inconvenience. So if it's an inconvenience and I'm trying to take away from your funds, which everybody knows, when it hurts your pocket, it hurts. That hurts every aspect of it. The military,
economics,
everything. So they understood it for what it was, and they're like, okay, since they free our slaves, we're just going to give them property, we're going to give them funds, we're going to pay them, and then we're going to unite with them, and they're going to fight with us. And that's exactly what happened. So this flag was monumental to the rebellion of the Union, which was united for a cause that was unjust. Now, today, the Confederate flag is used as symbology as for racism. How did they come up with that? I don't know why they come up with that, but some say, oh, that ain't what the flag mean. That ain't what the flag mean. But when the flag is flown and people out the window throwing up their middle finger, calling you niggas, woo, jumping out, you know what I mean, acting as if, then what are we to think about it? You understand what I'm saying? So, if you know that when one see this flag, it is disrespectful or offensive, would you keep flying it? That's where I stand today. Because if I know that something is offensive to the people, I'm showing a disservice. And it's not only a disservice to them, it's a disservice to self, because I know it to be self. It's only self. You are me and I am you. God speaks to man through man. So if I can't understand you as him, then how could I possibly interpret him? Like it said in the Bible. How could you believe in something that's unseen? Because you don't see it. That's the only reason it's unseen. But I see it every time I look at my fellow brother, no matter what race he is. Because there's only one race, the human race. So if you're not of the human race, then you're humanoid. If you're humanoid, then that means you void of. If you void of, that means you lack the most essential elements. Back to the mimosas.
And see, that's what we got going on right now in this town that we live in right now, Logan Sports Stadium, Indiana. We got that Confederate flag being thrown around. It's going around at a rapid rate, and it's causing mad issues. But this what we got when we dealing with inside of a town with a government audience, the officials, the power to be that can control certain, supposed to control certain situations and style law. But we know that we are in a predominantly one-colored town. There's family orchestrated, the judicial system, the justice system, and everything. Like what we was talking about earlier. If you ask me, like in certain systems and jobs, like Department of Corrections, if you want to continue to be a DOC worker or a federal government agency, sometimes you have to move your whole families and yourself to a whole different state.
Right.
Now in this town right here, so much favoritism is in this town because everybody is family orchestrated, from police to the court building, to the judges, the secretary, the stenographer. Everybody is family orchestrated, tied into each other. So just that alone, knowing that it's going to be favoritism with the people here in the town, the laws that control, the people that govern the laws, they are going to take sides of favoritism with the people that they grew up with, even when they go to arrest them or anything of that nature. But people that's not from here, they came here to live in this environment.
They are troublemaker.
They gonna be the troublemaker, or they gonna get thrown straight away as soon as they commit a crime. Is that right? No, it's not right. If you ask me, these officers or officials, if they're not going to do their job correctly, they should be given alternatives. You can still practice law, but you have to go to another city and be that law enforcement officer if that's what you want to be.
Right.
Replace them with officers from whole different environments. Then we can no longer say that there's favoritism here.
Right.
Because we have officers that's not even from this town. They ain't got no kinfolks here. It's not where they come from. And then we may get lost still.
Right.
I mean, that's a, everybody know about the good old boy. You feel me? The good old boy rule. You know what I mean? One hand watchdog, and it plays a significant role in this in towns. You feel me? As you was talking earlier, you was talking about the amount of violence that's in urban areas. Now, I go back to this. In the urban areas, it was groups of people who governed their communities. You know what I mean? It was individuals who was peacemakers and was lawgivers. You know what I mean? They controlled the ordinance of the flow of the community. Now, when you got the government, which is the police officers and the lawyers and everything, intercepting the message, you know what I mean, and aggravating the situations, then it's chaos.
Right.
Because now you have the law of the land against the universal law, and it always gonna cause friction.
Right.
The universal law is of peace, love and peace, and that's what these people in this community base their terminology and their law off of. You feel me? Because they are together. They're not individualized. It's together. So when you talking about doing anything together, you're considerate of the next. You know what I mean? You're compassionate. You're merciful. You have all the characteristics that makes you Christ-like. But when you have the law coming and intercepting in the universal law and giving you man law, then it's going to be friction. Right. It's going to make ones uncomfortable. It's going to make ones revolt. So then, like he said, with the town, and you got everybody together, you know what I mean? It's family orchestrated. Of course, it's going to be more of a bond, but then you blame it on minority, and then you lock minority up, and you say minority is the reason. How can minority be the reason of anything when the majority is the majority and the minority is the minority? So if the majority let the minority, you know what I mean, take over and control the way of the balance, then what do they say about the majority?
Weak. Quote unquote majority.
True.
Quote unquote majority. Because we all know that the 16 Shades of the Asiatic nation is 85% of the world, which means that they're 15%. And if they're 15%, then they have to practice divide and conquer. Because you are really the minority,
right,
the endangered species. You feel me?
Right. They're outnumbered.
And so on and so on.
That's deep. Okay, but now when you invite when you invite outsiders through commercials of job offerings, such as Tyson, or before it was Tyson, it was
IBP,
Wilson's, IBP. When you invite people to come from Mexico, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Michigan, somewhere everywhere to come to your environment, you should have the proper educational skills, or you should have a rainbow type of mindset to be able to deal with the new aspects of people that you bring into your environment.
Right.
And when you get them over here, this is how you got them to come over here. Don't start making the methods like they are the troublemakers, because that's what this environment do. I've been down here for over 10 years now. There's not a Mexican cop, there's not an African American cop, but it's African Americans that live here. There's Mexican cops live here. You have there's certain things that I look at that the system downplay on people's rights. You got all kinds of spiritualities here. There's not even a temple here for Muslims. But you have Catholic places. You have even whole churches that you have Catholic, you got Protestants, Lutheran, all those church spirituality places where they can practice their religion sit right here in this town. But we know in this town today, you have many different cultures that have many different spiritualities, and we still don't have a temple of our own right here.
Right.
I see a church that's being lived in, used to just be lived in by the Mexicans right now. I mean, when that church can be used and occupied to be a temple, or it can be used for another spiritual purpose. That's the town.
Right.
And how do we rid the issues, the bad issues of the town, and replace them with good?
To be ostracized. Because when you stand on anything, you create enemies. You feel me?
Right.
So what it boiled down to is it worth standing on? Your belief, your faith, your fruition. Is it worth it? And to me, it's definitely worth it. Because I understand the difference even in our schooling. Through our vocational and their academic schooling. Why are we taught trades and how to be workers instead of how to be business owners, CEOs and CFOs? So we are being bred to be blue collar, while they're being bred to be white collar. But one still don't understand this to this day. These Ivy League schools get harder and harder to enroll in, for us to enroll in. And even when we are enrolled in it, we don't feel accepted. We don't feel like it's our place. Why don't we feel like we intelligent enough or educated enough to attend a higher grade school?
It's part of that conditioning.
Go back to that all over again.
The way we was conditioned.
So it boils down to, was we ever really accepted in America from day one?
Never was accepted.
And that go back to those amendments, huh? Until we find ourselves and find out who we really are.
I mean, to them, especially if we 3/5 of a human being, hell no, we're not accepted.
So we're not even considered a person. And if you're not considered a person, then you can never be a citizen. So if you're not a citizen, what are we? Property. And as long as we property can never own property. A dog can never own a dog. But a dog is so important that a dog have a national name. English Mastiffs, British Bulldogs. Even food have nationality. Polish sausage, French fries. But we have no nationality. We're just black.
Right.
Negro.
A color. That's
Or
our
color. Negro.
right. But that's
Any
our
name
nationality. A
that
color.
they can think of.
Black.
Besides our nationalist names, which makes us not even able to approach the UN with a national problem.
No naming people. No naming people.
So if an uprising was to be in America and come from America, we have no allies. Why we have no allies? Because we can't approach the United Nations with a national problem.
Or we do have allies, but our allies are waiting on us to find out who we are so that they can help us.
So when are we going to become aware and proclaim? You had the Emancipation Proclamation, but nobody proclaimed. Nobody proclaimed. So if nobody proclaimed, and some guys, we were just talking about this, and it was like when you ran through the country, you see a whole lot of open area, a whole lot of space. What is this space being occupied? How is it being occupied? What is it being used for? Who do it belongs to? It belongs to the ones who haven't proclaimed. Because once you proclaim, you will inherit. It is naturally yours. It's yours for the taking. But without proclamation, you can never inherit your inheritance.
That's deep. So that's what it boiled down to right there. That's what it all boiled down to.
How could you tax a sovereign? How could you deprive a sovereign? You can't. Because they're self-governed. If I'm self-governed, I need no insurance to drive my car. It is my car.
Right.
I don't have to pay property tax because it's my property.
Right.
But we don't even understand that to this day. Yet, when we reach a certain stature, we bragging and we happy and we feel established. But it can be taken from under us as quick as we established it.
Just like that.
So, you wasting all this time educating yourself, building yourself up, only for it to get taken right back from under you. What sense do that make? When you proclaim your free national name, you will be recognized by the governments in which you live in and the nations of the earth. Until you proclaim your free national name, you will not be recognized by the government in which you live and the nations of the earth.
And that's probably why they continue to treat us how they've been treating us for decades and decades.
3/5.
That's deep. You see, then it go back to what you was just saying earlier. Okay, until you proclaim a nationality, you will always be looked at how you are. You will always be perceived how you are. You will always be considered no name people. Or
A
no
bad
name person. Now, okay, we know the methods to apply. We know how to get to that point. Now, it's something that you was just saying. How do I? I'm trying to get back to what you were saying. You lost my train of thought. I gotta think of what you were saying so I can play.
Well, how we proclaim
Sovereignty.
how does one go by proclaiming that?
Okay. They said during time of turmoil, a prophet will be sent to save you from the wrath of God. So a prophet will arrive from out of the nation. So your prophet won't be Jesus Christ. Your prophet won't be Muhammad. Your prophet will be a prophet that arrived through the turmoil, the same struggle, and the same person, the same people that you are. For me to give the message, I will be of your kind. Because who's better? How would you accept the message if you feel that a person can't relate? So it have to be acceptable to you. You can only receive a message in a way that you can accept it. So it's through your eyes, you're more acceptive of your own, your brother, your sister. So in America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, forerunner, Marcus Garvey, is the prophet for America. Because he came to save us from the wrath of the pale skinned nations who plaguing us in America, who deprived of us our nationality and our divine creed. The two components that make us 3/5 of a person. So once you gain your nationality and your divine creed, you become whole. And when you're whole, you will inherit. As above, so below. If you're a king below, then you're a king above. If you're a God below, then you're a God above. No one wants to profess to be God because why? When you profess to be God, you have responsibilities. You have duties. You have an obligation. Why do we run from our obligations and our duties?
Now you remember what you just said earlier, right? We fought for a long time in the civil rights era to make progress, to get to where we are at right now. Our leaders said fought for us for generations and generations, so that we can be able to do the same thing and be accepted like everybody else is as human beings in America. Okay, now, but the problem, how you were saying it, we never came to a resolution with the problem. We just got all the material aspects of certain things, and we ran with that, and we forgot all about the cause. When the cause still continue on, because we still ain't came to a common solution.
So basically, what you're saying is, I give you a little, and you think you won the battle. So I got God-given rights through the Declaration of Independence, but I give you civil rights, and you happy to have civil rights because before then you had no rights. But you don't want the same God-given rights as the next man. So if you're a man and you got God-given rights, what do that make me? Less than a man because I have civil rights? Brother Shabazz, as well as Martin Luther King, before they ascended, they was fighting the same cause. Ones want to think of it as Christianity, want to think of it as Islam, but not understand that these two religions was fighting for the same cause of the people. Their national names. I can't go around keep calling my brother black when I know black is a descriptive word. You're not black. What are you? Everybody else flying that flag. I'm from Barbados. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from Ghana. I'm from Kenya. I'm from Brazil. I'm American. Why would you claim America knowing that America is a corporation? If it's a corporation, then that means it's a reason behind everything. And nine times out of 10, it's money behind it.
So they ain't make you. If we they property, they still making money off of us.
To this day.
They never stop making money off us.
Bingo.
They never stop.
It's still a plantation.
So
it's just a modern day plantation.
Modern day slavery. But the killing thing that if we don't hurry up and find ourselves, if a war ever was to break
it's
out
gonna be
in
too
this
late.
country, we will be property and slaves all over again.
And no one will come to the aid and assistance.
Why? Because they say history repeats itself.
Because you are the property of America.
And all this time, and all the time in between, we had the opportunity to proclaim and find ourselves. And if we don't wait, if we don't do nothing about it, we're gonna wait till it's too late.
So back to this America, which is politically incorrect. If Christopher Columbus is the founder of America, then why is he named after Amerigo Vespucci? So you put a title behind Africa. First, we know Africa to be a continent. What country is you from? So you give us the name, the name of a whole continent, as well as the name of a corporation who is politically incorrect. Are you making it extra hard for us to find out who we are?
And they gave us a language to come from a whole nother country.
A bastard language.
Bastard language.
A boiling pot. The same thing they call America.
A melting pot.
You take word from over here, word from over there, word from over there, word from there, and call it English. Everybody else speaking their native tongue. What is your native tongue? We don't speak Bantu. We don't speak Swahili. We don't speak Haitian. We don't speak French. But yet, this is where our ancestors derived from.
Turn time.
So I just want to talk about the symbology, these signs and symbols. That's all around.
Yeah.
So you got signs and symbols all around. Misused. If I created some shoes and you stole the shoes, you'll put them on your hand. You don't even know the purpose it was originally created for. So how could you properly utilize it for what it's for? So you steal this and you say, this is what it means. But is that what it means? You credit yourself as a Mason, but we know who the original master Masons are. Harim Abif. You know what I mean? This was a Mason who helped build Solomon's Temple. Imhotep. Geniuses of all geniuses. Built the pyramids. A foundation that is the perfect foundation that still stands today. Unknown. Can't be duplicated. These are master Masons. But yet the name of Masons is credited to who? So I give you a portion and say you're a Prince Hall Mason. You're happy. Remember, you're just happy with portions at this time. You're happy with a little bit. But what they say, the simple man would inherit the kingdom of God. The simple. So while ones is playing Lucifer, don't get me wrong, Lucifer is brilliant. He's an intelligent man. He's an intelligent man that manipulates and alters to his desire. So they playing Lucifer.
They go back to what that lady was saying on there. About the pictures and the images and the way that they wanted people to think. If we paint God, or we paint the Son of God, if we paint him in the image of us, and we want people to worship the Son of God as well as worshiping God, then who is they bowing down worshiping at the end of the day? They bowing down worshiping, we worshiping them. Everybody that believe in that method, you worshiping them.
They say the Son is the center in God's most noblest image. So if you is allergic to the Son, what do that mean?
Oh, say that again?
They say the Son is the center in God's most noblest image, enlightenment. So if you're allergic to the Son, what do that mean?
That means you're in trouble.
That's deep.
You can't get the vitamins off of it.
No.
God can reproduce and duplicate in any and every shade. If you can't, how are you God? How are you original man? I haven't never seen it, and until I see it, I believe it. I definitely don't believe it until I see it. You prove to me that you can make me, that you can sleep with your same race, a white on a white, and produce me. Show me that.
There's no way possible.
Then I will believe that you're original man. But don't get me wrong, I do believe you're original man. Let me run my spiel down for you. This is the spiel of the world. Adam and Eve. Adam is what? Adam is nucleus. It's energy. You feel me? Now energy, we know to be everything. Everything that's matter is of energy. Right? Eve, what happened to Eve? Eve is without, Eve's void of. In the evening time, what happened? The sun goes down. You feel me? Now, these people are of a materialistic nature, the knowledge of the world. What did he tempt Adam with? The knowledge of the world. Who is this world ran by? You're right. You heard this your whole life. It's a white man's world. It definitely is. So Eve isn't a gender. It isn't male, female. It's Asiatic and pale skin nation. While one's thinking that it's male and female, they're incorrect. So that means it was both. Both are original men. One is high on spirituality. One is high on materialistic desires. The knowledge of the world. The one with spirituality fell out of the grace. How did he fall out of the grace? When he became materialistic and gained the knowledge of the world. Now understand this. You can't give until you subtract, as I said earlier. So I have to take away your spirituality in order for you to be materialistic. So to this day, we allow ourselves as well as our brothers to be deprived of what is God given. To this day, same thing I said. You got God given laws, we have civil laws. We are deprived of what is God given. We are naturally spiritual. We are naturally attained God's grace. Naturally. We are born perfect. But I'm going to tell you you're a sinner. And if I tell you you're a sinner, negative conditions produce negative consequences. So as long as I'm telling you that you will never be and you always will be, you will always be. But if I told you you are a God and you can only be a God, through procreation you can only be what your father was. If you're a dog, you're going to be a dog. If you're a human, you're going to be a human. If you're a God, then you're going to be a God. So why wouldn't I tell you you're a God and tell you you're a sinner?
Because it's going to keep you complacent in the state of mind that didn't condition you in already from day one.
I tell you what I want you to know probably because I don't want you to grow.
And it'll take the power away from them as contributing themselves to being gods.
Because they think they're God, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they playing with all these different things. Homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
They starting to, you know what I mean, crack down on these churches.
But the truth will always, they say, out of the darkness into the light. Revelations is what? The revealing of what? They say at the end of the times, they say we living in the last days. But what are the last days? The last days as we know it. Every day, people are becoming more and more conscious. And by them becoming more and more conscious, they be more and more aware. The more attention you pay, the more interesting things become. The more interesting become, the more attention you pay. So now ones are interested in themselves. So they're paying attention to themselves. So they're going to find themselves.
Right.
And once they find themselves, they will be who they were meant to be.
And that'll be the end
Of times, as we know.
maybe not of the time, but of their time.
Oh, say that again.
Not the end.
Say that again. So who times was they talking about? So now that we talking about this, now that we on this subject, the end of time, who is they talking about? Because we know that the female white woman is the endangered species. If they was with a person that lacks the most essential elements, which is emotion, compassion, merciful, and kind, when they find a person that's full of, what they gonna do? They gonna embrace that person, right? So soon as they start leaving the white male and start messing with the black male, because he's full of and he's without.
But see, now some of the women,
that's the end of their race.
But see, now some of the women, it's hard to get their mindsets right because they still got so much of the white male stuck inside of them. It's hard they got so much of their ways tamed inside of them that it's hard for them to be changed, even if some of them want to be changed.
It's embedded in them.
It's embedded in them. Now, but they do need us for essential purposes. In order to continue to give life through themselves, to bring something in this world, they need us to mate with.
So, as people, they're dead. As people, they're dead. Because they don't have the proper nutrients and cultivations that's given to the seed to make them human. So as right now, they're a shell. And as you a shell, as we know, color reflect. Color reflects. So the more you're around, the more you realize you want to be around. The more you realize why you're around. And like I said, the more attention you pay, the more interesting things become. If I told you not to be with this person, that's going to make you pay more attention to that person. And by you paying more attention to that person, you becoming more interested in that person. So now you're interested in that person and you mate with this person. We just stole a whole nationality. That's why they say, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. You feel me? Thou shalt not covet from thy neighbor. If we sleep with a female of another race and have a child, 8% of African American blood, Asiatic blood, makes you Asiatic. So we are still in a whole nation from them. Y'all don't get it. You don't get it. They don't get it. That's why we are a threat. That's why we are looked at as demonic, devils, bad. Because we have that ability. We have that ability to make them instinct.
That's deep, but so very true. Man, you got me a little lost right now. Not lost, but man, you got me baffled with that.
Got that knowledge of buzz going. It's like we just smoked some reefer, but we just kicking it. You know what I mean? We dialoguing.
That's deep.
Yeah.
The knowledge pierced the membrane.
Don't.
I know these been things that everybody been thinking about. You feel me? They like, man, I just was saying that. I just told my guy that. Cause that's how I feel. You feel me? Knowledge is infinite, but it's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
So if it's nothing new under the sun, what we experiencing now?
It's always been there.
It definitely been an experience before.
Been in existence.
So it's no wonder. It's no wonder that this is being passed down. Generation to generation. This is self-preservation. If they don't self-preservate, they will be eradicated. They will be no more. So it's a necessity for them to teach, you know what I mean, superiority and inferiority. It's a necessity. It's a survival tactic.
For them. See, that's a survival tactic for them.
Exactly.
And then we have a tactic for us. This we need to stand on, that's trying to get ourselves back to our roots, ourselves. They know they survival tactics. But see, we will also mess around and mess our own selves up by not, again, going back to the same key root, by not finding out who we are as a people. So it all boils back down to that, being conditioned and not knowing who you are. I remember hearing that saying a long time ago from elders, you know, asking, do you know who you are? And I could never really get out of what they're saying besides my government name. Who am I? That's deep.
Now, Barack Obama stated in the inauguration, we must all study under our own vine and fig tree. To this day, I think that was misinterpreted. The ones didn't catch that. They didn't catch this to this day. Our own vine and fig tree.
See, son, that's a subliminal message. Because, I mean, if you don't really, I mean, if, you know what I'm saying? I remember him saying that, but until you just had said that, shit, I looked at it, I just started thinking about it a different way when you said that. Because, I mean, I remember him saying that, but now that you brought it up, it was like, you know, it's a subliminal message. He was telling, hey, y'all got to get it together.
So he was even telling us a long time ago about what we just now talking about right now.
But it's just like, you know what I'm saying, we just, hell, he almost out of office and now it took us this long to figure out what he was talking about.
Why you think he's hated? Why you think he's looked up at and he's shunned upon? They know what he said. They know the meaning behind what he said. They know why every action he do it. But we don't. You heard what them brothers said? We died trying to warn you. You feel me? We died trying to warn you. I had a murderous death. I accepted a murderous death, standing 10 toes down on what I believe, and you still don't understand it.
Trying to get these jewels to you.
Ones listen to this music. Because we all know music is a language. Music not only a language, it's a time capsule. It puts you right back in the same place where you was when you originally heard it. And through the same struggle that the person was going through when he originally wrote it.
It's a soundtrack of your life. Music is.
How many ones understand that? How many ones understand that? That we was given this nutrition. We was given these vitamins. We was given these supplements for our health, for our well-being. But did we take them? Did we utilize them? Because even ones that accept it, that's what make the 5%ers. You feel me? 85 that don't know, 10 that know and not doing nothing about it, and a 5 that know and is doing something about it. But this is who I said 5%.
5%ers.
It's 5% that know and is doing something about it, and they die a murder's death, and you still didn't receive the message.